This is TWiT.
I'm very excited to hear this review because as you and the listeners know, I'm excited because the Pixel 6a is going to be my sister's next phone. And I actually saw her yesterday and I said when she took out her phone to take a picture and it was still her old, I think she's on a 4A maybe or 3A.
Okay.
And I was like, why haven't you gotten the new phone? And she's like, oh, I can't even think about it. School starting. She's a teacher. She's like, it's too stressful to have to copy everything over. And I was just like, oh no, everything's better now. Like, please believe. So this weekend, I'm hopefully going to convert her over to 6A, but I got to find out I got to hear what you think of the phone before I do that. So.
Yeah. So I've been using the 6A for a couple of weeks, taking it on a couple of trips, taking a lot of photos. You know, I mean, the A series Pixel phones continue to be a really solid category of devices, especially for the mid-range price category that they're in. This is a $449 device. And actually, I should just say right off the top, right now it's on sale. If you go to Amazon, you can get this for $370. So
that's awesome.
So I mean, normally $449, $370 now. Like that's a ridiculous price reduction. So if you're going to get one of these, at least at the time of this recording, that's what it was earlier today. That's a pretty rockin' price for this phone. So I feel like the A series, time and time again, has just become a model of phone that is almost a no-brainer to recommend. And this year, I feel like is no different, minus a couple of quibbles that I have. I'll get to that in a moment. But I'll just kind of, I've been doing this format the last few reviews that I've done, and I kind of like it. It's kind of straight and to the point, so I'm just going to do it. The good, the indifferent, and the bad. So we'll start with the good. Everything that you already know about the 6 series, you get here with the 6A. But you do get a shallower camera bump. And that actually is nice, even though I'm using Google's case, which kind of makes it a flat, seamless kind of backside, right? It doesn't pop out to begin with very much. Definitely not as much as it does on the Pixel 6 XL. But the design is solid. If not, I feel like a little better with the shallower camera bar, even though I know that on my 6XL, and I think Bert just brought over is this your 6XL? This is the 6. Here, I'm going to pop it out of the case just so we can do some side-by-side. Woo, the dirty. I'm not judging. Mine would be too. But you can really see side by side, right? Like the camera bar is a little narrower. If you put them up side by side like this, you can see that Bert's 6 pops out a lot further. I think the 6XL maybe even a little bit further than that. This one doesn't sit flush, but it's pretty darn close. I mean, by comparison, it's very close. And I don't know. I just think it's less of that kind of strange awkwardness. You know what I mean? It just feels like a little bit more like a flat bar, even though it's not. But I love that. I think that's great. 6.1 inch display, which for me is refreshing over the 6.7 inch display on the 6 Pro that I've been using. I actually really like this size. I've so, wobble back and forth between the larger phone and the smaller phone these days. It's hard for me to pick which is the right one. I think the right one for me is whatever one I happen to be using and get used to. But I've gotten really comfortable with the 6.1 inch size of this display. The OLED display, especially in this price category, no surprise. It's bright, it's sharp. Everything looks good on this display as I've been using it. Things feel smooth and fluid. Inside, I think one of the big takeaways here that we know about the 6A is that this has Google's Tensor chip. So it has the same chip that Bert's 6 has. It has the same chip as my 6A, my 6XL has. There's nothing different as far as that chip is concerned. It's not a ramped down version of it. So as a result, things feel, pretty smooth, pretty fluid. And I don't know, I didn't experience any slowdown. It really felt the same, as using my 6XL. The cameras, so I did include some photo samples. You can hop through those at random. I would just say that the camera system on the 6A performs incredibly well. You get your low light performance that's awesome and off the charts. If you're in bright light, you get nice, sharp clear pictures. I really didn't battle any images at all. You know, it was I've grown over the years to be really accustomed to knowing that when I pull out my Pixel and take a picture, it's going, 95% of the time is going to give me an image that's exactly what I'm looking for. And I think I've just kind of gotten comfortable and used to the Pixel images and everything. You know, that was really dark out that night. We were sitting in front of a bonfire, which you can see right there, but that's like the quality of low light images that you get out of that camera, which is pretty spectacular. So yeah, I think the camera system, once again, you bang for your buck as far as that's concerned. They look great. You get IP67 weatherproofing, and then like I already said, the price is definitely one of the biggest benefits of the 6A. Now, what am I indifferent on? Well, I would say that the material is definitely a little bit of a lesser material. Like if you're used to having the glass on the back of the 6 and the 6 Pro, this is, what do they call it? A thermoformed composite, which is essentially, kind of a plastic, but it's kind of one of those things that like you don't even really notice it. Like I don't even notice it at all. I actually had to look it up because I was like, well, is this glass or is it plastic? Like I actually had to question it. For me, it also doesn't matter because I wear a case, right? So I'm kind of indifferent on that. If that's a deal breaker for you, but you're still going to put it in a case, does it really matter? Like, it probably doesn't. So there's that. And also it has the added benefit of kind of cutting down on the weight as well. This is a pretty light phone. In fact, my daughter picked this up not knowing that I was testing out a different phone. She was like, wow, your phone got really light. I was like, yeah, this isn't my phone. This is a different one. And then of course the in-display fingerprint sensor, which is, a lot of people don't like it, think that it's not as responsive as others. I mean, I don't know if I'm just used to it or if it just truly is not, nearly as bad as other people say. I don't have a problem with it. I don't think it's amazing. I've used better, fingerprint sensors in the display than on this one, but I feel like it's pretty dependable for me. And then there's the bad, and I put this in my notes in all caps. It's one of the only things that's all caps for me. That is the battery. I don't know what's going on as far as the battery is concerned with the 6A, but because I've gotten to the point to where I don't have battery anxiety much anymore because the batteries just, they at least with the 6XL and the other phones that I've been testing recently, like I never get anywhere below, like 40% by the end of the day or something. On this phone, almost every day that I've been using it, and quite frankly, even on days that I'm hardly using it, I feel like that battery drain is just insane. Like I get to 7 o'clock and it's at, 15% and I've got the little red indicator up there. I'm like, what the, like I didn't do anything extra to get here. Why is it depleting so fast? I don't know. I did do some reading around to see if other people encounter this, and not all other reviews reported on battery performance, but some of them did. So I don't know, maybe it's the combination of apps that I have installed doing something, but I find it kind of weird. It's the same apps that I have installed on, every other phone that I review. So very interesting there. Hopefully that gets buttoned up. Maybe there's some, tweaking, customization stuff that can be done to improve that. But I feel like that's my main kind of quibble with the 6A and my experience with it. Other than that, the things that it doesn't have, right? Which it's hard to like hold it accountable for not having a headphone jack, although the other A series phones have had one, so that might bum you out. Not having wireless charging, but again, it's a mid-range device and they got to cut costs. And I feel like wireless charging is a total like target, for cost cutting. So I don't really hold it against that. I think overall, this is yet again a really solid mid-range device from Google. It's really hard to beat at $449 and especially at $370, which you can get right now. Fantastic phone. So how do you feel about the decision now, Ron? For your sister,
you had me until the battery part. That's the only thing that worries me, because she needs a good battery that she doesn't have to worry about.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I feel like the Pixel A series, 4A, 5, not the 5A, but the 4A and the 3A were solid in terms of like camera and usage, and it was a good, solid phone and had confidence in recommending it. And the 6A sounds like it's on the right track to there until you got to that bit about the battery. So.
Yeah, I mean, and it could just be me. Like, I don't know. It's really hard. That's why I said, like, I looked at other reviews to see, like, am I out on on my own here? And there were some reviews that did like serious, battery testing, like. What is the word I'm looking for? Very organized battery testing, which I admittedly do not do very organized battery testing. The way I review phones is I turn it into my phone and I use it for a couple of weeks and I see how I feel about it. It's very much a feeling sort of thing for me as opposed to benchmarks and stats and all that kind of stuff. And, and so other reviewers have done those things and have found the battery to be less performant. I also saw a story today that said that Android 13 is rolling out on a number of Pixel devices and Pixel 6 devices, and they're seeing suddenly dramatic battery decrease happening, like, kind of similar to what I'm talking about. That doesn't apply here, though, because this is still on Android 12. It's not part of the beta. It's running the stock kind of Android 12 OS experience that I received it from Google. Google did give me this as a loaner device. So I got, it's running the way Google intended. And I don't know. It's it's a little disappointing because I haven't had that experience where every single night at like 7 o'clock I'm seeing that red icon up in the battery area. I'm like, I gotta charge that in.
That's stressful.
Plug that in. There have been mornings where I unplug it and I'm just doing my thing. I'm hardly on it, whatever. And a couple hours, it's like I wake up at 6. Like at 9 o'clock, I look at it and it's like 75%. I'm like, wait a minute, 75% in 3 hours. 25% in 3 hours and I did nothing. Like how is that possible? And the only way that I know that that's not normal for me is because I have had other phones and they definitely don't discharge at that rate. So I don't know, maybe it's my combination of apps, but maybe it is the 6A, something to know about, and consider going in. So
that's, Now I'm worried. Now I don't know if I can recommend it because now I'm kind of leaning and we talked about this. I feel like we talked about it recently on the show when we were talking about mid-ranges and stuff. The price differential between it and a 6 isn't that far anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Well, what is a Pixel 6?
The 6 is like $599, isn't it? Or like 600 around there?
Yeah, probably somewhere around there. Which I mean, Pixel 6 on sale at Best Buy right now, $499.
I mean, if a Pixel 6 on sale for $499, right? Doesn't that seem a little off to you? Right. And all these Pixel 6 prices are coming down because the Pixel 7 is on the horizon, right? So this might be the time to pull the trigger on the Pixel 6.
Right. Well, actually, and I'm seeing Amazon $469 for a Pixel 6.
Oh man, geez.
So that's pretty low.
Tempting.
Yeah. So then, I mean, and so $460. Okay. All right. So $469 for the Pixel 6, which is like what, $10 more than the normal price for the 6A, which is now admittedly on sale for much less as well. But then I guess this is the question for you and your sister is like, oh, well, maybe she gets the 6 because right now it's practically the same cost as the 6A.
Right. The only X factor here is she's on Verizon, which I know they get weird with. Like I'm on T-Mobile and I don't mind buying an unlocked phone and using that, but like she like goes to the Verizon store, gets the service, like all that kind of crap. And so I don't know if Verizon is selling the 6 for such a low price as well. I have to look into that.
It doesn't look that it is. Like I'm just briefly searching it. It looks like $7.99 at Verizon.
Yeah.
So
which I mean, the unlocked phones work on Verizon. It's just but again, like this is the difference between the regular customer and us, so
Yeah, indeed.
I could just buy her a 6.
Or that. So there you go. That's my look at the 6A. I think it's a really great device. It's just that battery, for whatever reason, I'm stuck on that one. So I don't know what that means ultimately. I would review it recommend it wholeheartedly outside of that, but that's a pretty big one. You know, battery really impedes, if bad battery performance really impedes on your use and enjoyment of a phone. So there you go.